A significant change in our weather is on the way, and it may lead to one of the more unusual patterns we have seen this season. After several winter storms brought feet of snow to the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Northeast over the past 7 days, the pattern is preparing to shift once more, and this next phase appears to be quite different. Several storm systems are poised to take a rather uncommon track. Over the next 7 days, these systems will draw colder air deeper into the central and eastern United States, setting the stage for a much more eventful stretch of weather. Instead of a single, large winter storm, we will be tracking a series of disturbances that will affect the Great Plains, the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Southeast. As these systems meet with pockets of warm and humid air, we could see an interesting variety of weather, which includes the risk of severe storms and even tornadoes, along with a chance for some rare, early-season snow in parts of Tennessee and portions of the Mid-South. The farther north you are, the colder and more persistent this weather pattern is going to feel. Temperatures are expected to be 10 to 20 degrees below what is normal for this time of year. This will affect a very large area of the northern and eastern United States. Repeated waves of colder air will certainly make it feel as though winter has arrived to stay. Multiple rounds of scattered snow showers, freezing rain, and even lake-effect snow could create slick conditions on the roads and rapidly changing weather, which is enough to cause travel concerns well into next week. So, in today's forecast, we will carefully explain exactly what you should know about this major turn our weather is about to take. Now, one of the most important factors in the weather pattern developing over the next 7 days is the jet stream, as it is going to shift in a way we have not observed in the last several weeks. So, let us talk more about that. This is what the jet stream looks like at the moment. We have a low-pressure system that is currently situated over the Rocky Mountains. This system is going to produce some very heavy mountain snowfall for the next 48 hours across Colorado, which includes the Denver area, where we could see upwards of 12 inches of snow in some locations. So, a significant winter weather event is coming for them. Otherwise, our jet stream is flowing very evenly for most of the lower 48 states. But I do want to point out, we are seeing a very large dip in our jet stream up in Canada. This is the polar jet stream, and it is going to dive southward as we head into tomorrow, bringing the coldest weather we have experienced so far this season to parts of the Midwest. In fact, we are anticipating temperatures to fall by as much as 40 degrees below average, which will likely break records across the Midwest and the Ohio Valley on Thursday and Friday. Some communities could experience record-breaking low temperatures, dipping into the negatives in certain spots, which is truly remarkable, even for the beginning of December. Now, as we move into Friday and Saturday, our jet stream is going to become much more uniform. You might think this means things will quiet down, because typically, a more uniform flow does indicate a calmer weather pattern, but that is not necessarily the case this time. We are actually going to have a great deal of moisture moving up from the Gulf of Mexico, which will contribute to heavy rainfall and some isolated severe weather for the Gulf Coast states and the Southeast. On the other hand, our jet stream is dipping just enough up in Canada to allow for a couple of Alberta clippers to form. These systems typically bring snowfall this time of year. Therefore, I would expect at least a few rounds of snow this weekend and into next week across the northern tier of the United States. And you will notice how our jet stream will continue to originate from the northwest. This will really help to keep temperatures below average for a large part of the United States, bringing multiple shots of cold air, which means multiple cold fronts will be passing through. With those cold fronts, we could see the potential for some snow, severe weather, and heavy rainfall. So, a lot of different weather types will be possible, which means that conditions are going to remain quite active here over the next couple of weeks. Even though we are not talking about a single major winter storm like the one we saw over the last few days, the weather will still be active with multiple chances for snow, severe weather, and heavy rainfall. Now, over the next few days, we are going to experience a very intense Arctic blast across a large part of the United States. So, as we go into tonight and tomorrow, notice how cold it is going to become across the northern plains and the Midwest. We will have temperatures running by as much as 40 degrees below average. Record-breaking low temperatures will be set in many areas tonight. Looking at tomorrow morning, we are talking about a widespread area in the Midwest, including Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Illinois, with temperatures as much as 45 degrees below average. You are certainly going to need a good winter jacket. We could see some sub-zero temperatures in some areas as well. The wind chills are also not going to help matters, as very strong northerly winds will be in place across much of the Midwest. A very strong cold front is going to make its way through the Ohio Valley as well on Thursday, which will continue to keep things very cold. Even for Thursday afternoon, a broad area from Texas all the way to the northeast will be dealing with temperatures as much as 25 degrees below average. By Friday evening, we are still looking at very chilly air all across the Great Lakes, the Northeast, and all along the East Coast. That cold air is basically going to stop, however, once it reaches Florida. By Friday afternoon and evening, that cold air will have made its way all the way down into Georgia, Alabama, and Louisiana. But take a look at Florida. The state will still be running 10 to 20 degrees above average for this time of the year, which is also bordering on record-breaking for those areas. But by the latter half of the weekend, that cold front will begin to creep into parts of central Florida. So, cold air is going to make it there, but it will not be very intense by the time it arrives. Then, the entire Northeast is essentially going to be covered in well below average temperatures to begin next week, which is certainly not welcome news if you are not a fan of winter. It is going to be quite chilly to start the work week. Then, by the middle and end of next week, we could be talking about some very warm air making its way into the Great Plains, the Rockies, and all along the West Coast, with very little relief in sight, at least for the end of next week. But again, things can still change, as that is about 7 days from now. But overall, the weather looks to be quite chilly for the next 7 days for most of the lower 48. And folks, I truly mean it when I say this, it is going to be downright frigid on Thursday morning across much of the Midwest. These are the low temperatures themselves, not the wind chills. This is not factoring in any wind or feels like temperatures whatsoever. We are talking about a widespread area in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois, with temperatures as low as 20 degrees below zero. A very quick but intense shot of cold air is going to make conditions quite dangerous on Thursday morning. Then, by Thursday afternoon, temperatures will barely climb out of the single digits for most of these areas, including Des Moines, Chicago, back through Madison, and also Minneapolis. Then, by Friday morning, we will have below zero temperatures in parts of Indiana, including Fort Wayne, and over near Cleveland by Lake Erie. I mean, this is just going to be profoundly frigid, even on Friday. And then on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, that cold air is going to linger. It is not going anywhere. It is simply going to remain very, very cold across these areas. Then by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, things will start to improve across the Midwest and the Northeast. But it is still going to be very cold for at least the next 5 days. And currently for Thursday morning, we are expecting at least 10 different record-breaking low temperatures to be set across the Midwest. This includes areas near Des Moines, all the way through central Wisconsin, near Wausau, and even near Kansas City, where the low is only expected to be 5 degrees on Thursday morning. For Thursday afternoon, we expect record-breaking low maximum temperatures, which means very cold high. Temperatures are going to occur across the Great Lakes and back into the Central Plains. Then, by Friday morning, we will be dealing with nearly 24 record-breaking low temperatures from the Northeast all the way back through the Great Lakes. This includes areas north of St. Louis and near Chicago, where the temperature will be a big goose egg, that is 0 degrees, and then also back through Ohio, where temperatures will only be in the single digits. Now, shifting our focus to snow and rain. We are expecting some moderate to heavy snowfall across parts of Colorado, New Mexico, and even Arizona today. That is associated with a high-pressure system that's going to bring all of that Arctic air in tonight. Some snow showers are possible tonight into early tomorrow for parts of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and the Northeast. Though we are not expecting much in the way of accumulation. As we go into Thursday night and Friday, some heavy rainfall and even some isolated severe weather will be possible right along the Gulf Coast, directly underneath that high-pressure system. We might see an isolated tornado risk develop back over in far southern Mississippi and Alabama. On Friday afternoon and evening, a little bit of snow is possible in parts of Virginia, and even North Carolina, but that will be mainly in the Appalachian Mountains. Then, on the weekend, we are expecting rain to continue across the southeast. It is shaping up to be a pretty active weather pattern. Showers and thunderstorms will continue through Sunday and Monday. Some snow is going to be possible in the northern plains and the Midwest. This will be a quick, light snowfall, but again, not much accumulation is expected there. The GFS model has been suggesting that some snow might even carry into Monday across parts of North Carolina and Virginia, so that might be a trend to keep an eye on. And then by Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, things become a bit more uncertain, but we will probably have at least a few Alberta clippers making their way across the northern plains, the Midwest, and the Northeast, with some moderate to heavy snowfall being a possibility. How much snow accumulates and where we see that snow is all still to be determined, since it is over a week away. But this is definitely a weather pattern that we need to monitor closely, because by the middle and end of next week, we could get several rounds of snowfall and perhaps even some isolated severe weather here in the United States. And for our friends in Colorado, we are expecting what could be your biggest snowfall event so far this winter season. We're forecasting around 4 to 6 inches of snow anywhere from Pueblo back through Denver, where we could even have 6 to 7 inches in the Denver, Colorado area. And then in the higher elevations, a widespread 7 to 12 inches of snow is in the forecast. Southern Colorado, in the higher elevations, could see up to 2 feet of snow, so a big snowfall event is coming. For those of you who are skiers, this is some very good news, and the holiday season is approaching quickly. If you are in need of stocking stuffers or Christmas presents, shopmaxvelocity.net is a wonderful place to look. We are also pleased to announce several new merchandise collections, including our supercell and cheesecur designs. The link is at the very top of the description for you. And a quick note, please be sure to order by December 10th to ensure delivery before the big holiday.